something I call productized SEO. It's definitely the polar opposite of the other side of the training, where it's a lot of deep competitor analysis, comparable analysis, whatever, what have you. It's a lot different, but it can be extremely effective and profitable. And I'm dedicating an entire module to it. I'm going to give you guys a few swipes and some resources to use, and hopefully you really enjoy it. So let's just get started. Productized SEO, and you might ask, what is this sorcery? You actually probably didn't think that, but basically productized SEO is when you remove as many of the customized factors as possible for your campaigns. So we want to touch the campaigns as little as possible from a management perspective, a fulfillment perspective, everything. We want there to be very few hands-on touch points. And we also, and when I say hands-on touch points, I mean from a managerial perspective. Your SEO managers, they shouldn't have a ton of customized hands-on work. And then that leads us to the other part of it, where it's the customization. Aside from a few anomalous situations that should be priced in an anomalous way, where maybe they have a penalty that needs removed, maybe there's just massive amounts of technical issues, or they say, hey, while you're doing this several hundred page optimization task, can you please migrate us to HTTPS, and we want a new website. And there can be a lot of variables that increase the price and workload, but when it comes to just straightforward ranking a site and the processes involved, there shouldn't be a lot of variance from project to project, okay? And that might seem esoteric to some people, and that's okay, because a lot of people don't talk about this type of SEO, and when it does get brought up, it's always like in an ineffective light, where you're buying packages from insert SEO provider, and they just don't freaking ever work. So productized SEO doesn't have to be ineffective, it doesn't have to be expensive, and it's really a great thing, and I'll tell you guys why, because there's a lot of reasons. This is if you guys decide to go this route, you're going to be really pleased. And the first thing is, you're going to work less and rely more on systems and people. This is, and that's why we get into this type of work, am I right? I mean, anyone that thinks they're going to do a literal 4-hour work week, not only in my opinion did they seriously misunderstand the philosophy behind that book, The 4-Hour Work Week, but they're probably going to have extremely lackluster results. And maybe they take a few cool gambles and win big on something, but I'd say 99 times out of 100, if you're not willing to really bust your ass to build this stuff, it's not going to be profitable. But the idea is, instead of working and busting your ass to put your finishing touches on SEO campaigns, or to deal with clients and reporting and stuff like that, you're working more on the processes to make sure your business can run at an optimal level too. We don't want to run, a hawk shop here, where it's just not good quality. We want to work on the processes to bring in good people, and you want to work on your systems. That way this stuff can get done, and you're not the one doing it. Your management can really just manage campaigns at the bird's eye level, and you can sit and actually move pieces of your business or agency around, almost like a puzzle. It's almost like a simulator, right? You can do major business development moves because you're outside of the business. So you can identify different issues within your processes, or within a certain division or arm of your business, and you can take action after you identify to fix it. And you're going to notice that stuff because you're not in the daily grind, right? So you work less, and you definitely rely a lot more on systems and people. It makes your business super sellable for larger valuations. And before you guys say, listen, I don't want to sell my business, right? I have no intention, why would I sell? That's a great point. You don't have to sell, but if there's one thing I've learned from, gearing up, working with brokers to do a few pretty impressive size sales here in the very near future, I can tell you that even if you don't plan on selling, building your business to be super sellable. That probably sounds really cheesy, but building your business to be, sold at a really attractive valuation means that you have your systems in place. You're scalable, you're profitable, it's streamlined. You're working outside of the business, right? You're building businesses like freaking Lego blocks, man. You're not in the daily grind. You're not attached to the business. You're not married to having to speak to clients or build relationships in order to maintain, a decent retention rate or whatnot. So even if you don't plan on selling, you should build a sellable business for sure. And once you do build that, you can get some really, really attractive valuations, having just all of your ducks in a row, if you will. And something I love is it's freaking scalable. Like, this is the stuff when you hear people like me, and it's not just me, like, we have big agencies just in the group. We have people doing 3, 5, 10 million a year, and like, one, they're either running around, like chickens with their heads cut off, because it's just they're bringing in massive amounts of revenue, and they're not, it's not streamlined, and that's okay. It can, you can fix that. You can definitely fix that. But when people get to that level, they did something right. They created a product, they created a service that's scalable, and that's something you don't have in a super boutique type situation, and that's okay. Maybe scalable's subjective. I mean, scalable to me might be a few hundred clients, or scalable to you might not be as many clients, but it's more on an income of revenue and net revenue, aka your profitability. That might be where you try to scale, and in that case, I would use the other side of my training, and that's where you can really step your game up and provide an incredible experience. But instead of charging $2,000 a month, your starting retainer might be $10,000 or $12,000 a month, and then in that case, it's all about scaling revenue rather than just scaling client numbers. So, but either way, this system is super scalable, and it's very valuable because of that. And it's all around easier to price, sell, fulfill, manage, etc. Everything becomes easier when you're dealing with productized SEO. It's a lot easier to price because once you build out what some of your campaigns look like, you can identify, you can explore your hard costs on the spot. So when you're salespeople, or if you're handling sales, whatever, when you go to price something, you already know the hard costs. And then if you have variables, that's fine. But it's definitely easier to price. Because of that, it's a lot easier to sell. It's a lot easier to get the expectations set. It's a lot easier for salespeople, and your whole team knows the freaking product, right? There's not any disconnect from your salespeople to your fulfillment, your managers, your support staff, your partners, whatever. Everyone knows the products from A to Z because they're just that. They're products. You look at your Gantt chart and you know what each larger product, the little products they consist of, you know everything A to Z, and that means it's easier to articulate its value. It's easier to set reporting expectations, and easier to price, easier to sell, and that makes it easier for your team to fulfill. Everything is there's no mysterious variables at that point. Because we know the price. That means we have to, the price of each of the things you sell. And if you guys are a little lost here, you'll see as we go through this what I mean by the little products inside of the bigger products. It's very simple, but once you understand your costs, you're understanding your costs because A, either you're using a vendor, and that's obviously a static variable, or B, you've done time studies, which is extremely important if you're using in-house staff, VAs, it doesn't matter. Time studies are very important, and if you know the price on the product, or a specific piece of the product that you perform, a type of link building or on page or what have you, if you know the cost on that, based on your in-house team or VA doing it, that means you know how long it takes. And if it takes person A X amount of time, that means person A can handle X amount of products in one day, right? If it takes them an hour to do something, that means they, minus lunch and some just, expected downtime, maybe they can handle 7 products a day. And that means that one person's going to handle 35 products per week. So if you have 10 people, you can do 350 of those products per week. So, you know, you're going to understand where your capacity lies. And that means you're not going to oversell. You know when it's time to hire because you're having, you know, you're starting to reach your ceiling on, you know, the fulfillment of certain products or pieces of the service. And that makes everything easier to manage. It makes it easier to identify issues. If you say, hey, why isn't the work getting done? If every single client has some type of customized campaign, then it's going to be it's going to be chaotic, and no peace comes from that type of chaos. It's just, this isn't like some deep universal philosophy here. Like, no peace comes from that type of chaos. It's a headache. So, you know, you eliminate that. You say, okay, here's why none of the work's done. It's this piece of the puzzle. Our in-house press release writer is just really behind, and, you know, so what do? Maybe we outsource, maybe we hire additional writers, maybe we, you know, set ultimatums, maybe they're screwing off, right? There's a lot of things, but once you identify, you know, the core problem, you can start to see the why of the problem, and that's how you eventually come up with a solution. So that's basically it, guys. Productized SEO. I know this video stretched a little long. I wanted to really explain what this stuff is and what it means.